Welcome to KetoMealsAndRecipes.com. Today I'm going to show you how easy it is to make my Keto No Bake Peanut Butter Bars. These delicious low-carb peanut butter bars are a wonderful after-dinner treat, a snack anytime, or as my sons do from time to time, an alternative breakfast to eggs and bacon. Because I'm sure that you will love it, especially if you love Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, which by the way I have made into keto. Or, as an alternative, you could also try my peanut butter fudge. But if you like peanut butter, please leave me a comment in the description below and tell me what other recipes you'd like me to make that would satisfy your peanut butter craving. Since all my videos are instructional, as I'm making this recipe, I will also give you tips on what you can do to substitute specific ingredients and also how to store these short-term and long-term. Keep watching. One last thing. I would like to mention that this recipe was adapted from John Cannell of Preppy Kitchen, so I give him full credit for the interpretation I have implemented for my recipe. A link to his original recipe will be posted in the description below. If you like my channel and find value in what I do and would like to support me, all I ask is that you please watch the video to the end and then leave a comment, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. I'd be so honored to have you on board. And when you subscribe, remember to ring the bell, scroll down to notify all. This way you'll be notified when I post my next video. Now, the macronutrient ratio for these Keto No Bake peanut butter bars is 4.1 to 1, with 7.2 grams of total carbs, 3.4 grams of dietary fiber, resulting in only 3.8 grams of net carbs per quite substantial sized bar. Now to begin with, there are a couple steps you should do. First, line either a 9 by 9 inch or about 22 centimeter by 22 centimeter square cake pan, or alternatively you could use two 9 inch or 22 centimeter loaf pans. It doesn't matter which pan you use, but line them with parchment paper, which will make it much easier to remove from the pan. Unfortunately, since we can't just go to a store and buy keto cookies without a lot of other substances in them, and I don't really find them truly keto, I would like to suggest you make a batch of my sugar cookie dough, which by the way is very easy to make. You will need only about half of the cookie dough, and once you've made it, divide it into two, and after dividing, place one of the halves between two sheets of parchment paper and roll out to about a quarter to a third of an inch thick. You don't have to do any cutouts or anything like that. Just leave it as a complete sheet and put it onto your baking sheet. Then just bake according to directions. So I don't have to keep repeating any recipe that I mentioned. A link will be posted in the description below, as will the link for the written peanut butter bar recipe. So go down there for anything I refer to. When your cookie sheet is done, grab the parchment and slide it onto a cooling rack and let it cool completely to room temperature before you crumble it. The cookie can easily be crumbled between your fingers, but you could also use a food processor. The only thing I'd like to mention is just remember when you're crumbling, either by hand or by food processor, to keep the crumbs rough and irregular, but not too big, and definitely not too fine. When you're done, measure out the crumbs and set aside. Next, melt the unsalted butter and pour it into a large mixing bowl. To this mixing bowl, add your peanut butter. Using a hand blender, mix until well integrated. At this point, also add your powdered confectioner sweetener and mix again until smooth and well combined. Here's my first tip. If you don't like peanut butter, or if you want a change of pace but the same effect, this recipe also tastes amazing if you use almond butter or any other nut butter of your choice. As well, you could use seed butters in place of the peanut or other nut butters. Another favorite we have is combining tahini with peanut butter, blending them together to equal the same quantity as per the peanut butter, and using that instead of pure peanut butter. And if you want a crunchy version, just use a crunchy peanut butter or crunchy almond butter, or chop up some nuts and throw them in yourself. Another thing I feel is very important, and I want to emphasize, whenever you're buying anything, whether it's marked keto or low carb or whatever, read the label. Many prepared products have some form of sugar. It may not be sugar directly, it may be maltitose or others, and they have preservatives or gums and thickeners that you don't want. When you're reading a label for a peanut butter or nut butter, the only ingredient that is listed should be the nut itself. Now that my peanut butter mixture is ready, the next thing is to pour your cookie crumbs into the bowl and using a spatula to fold until everything is well combined. As John Canelli points out in his video, you don't want to use a food processor or hand blender to integrate the cookie crumbs. If you do that, they'll be mushed up and you'll get a paste, and the texture of the cookie inside the bar will be lost. When using peanut butter, another problem that I encountered was that depending on the brand, some smooth peanut butters, especially if they're organic or freshly ground, result in the peanut butter itself being extremely liquidy and runny. In this case, all you have to do is add 1, 2, or sometimes even 3 tablespoons of a dry flour such as peanut flour, coconut flour, lupin flour, or almond flour to thicken up your peanut butter or nut butter. But if you're trying to thicken up your peanut butter, just add 1 tablespoon at a time. Stir it very, very well, and then let it rest for 5 to 10 minutes to be absorbed by the oils in the peanut butter, almond flour, or whatever. Now everything is combined, and it's time to pour this amazing mixture into my parchment lined pan. As you can see, I'm going to use my square silicone pan today, but you can use any of the ones I've mentioned already. And that's because I want to make squares today. And at this step, also smooth the surface. Then put the pan into the refrigerator to set for 30 to 60 minutes. This will help the peanut butter set and become a little bit firmer. But you're not done yet, so while you're waiting, prepare the chocolate topping. Chop up your unsweetened chocolate and put it into a small bowl. Here I'm using a decent quality baking chocolate, but read the label of your chocolate. You do not want compound or baker's chocolate. They're quite different and they have a lot of other ingredients in there that you don't want. You just want unsweetened baking chocolate. And into this bowl, add the peanut butter and the sweetener. Put the bowl over your bain-marie or double boiler, and as everything is melting, stir continuously. It should only take a couple minutes, especially if you've pre-chopped your chocolate. You should stop and remove the bowl from the bain-marie when you notice that almost all of the chocolate is melted. At this point, all you have to do is occasionally stir until the rest of the chocolate is melted, and by removing it at this point, you won't burn your chocolate. Then set your chocolate topping aside because it has to be at room temperature before using. Now everything is at the right temperature. Now for the next step. I got my pan from the refrigerator, and it's time to pour the cool chocolate mixture over the peanut butter base. Try to spread and distribute the chocolate evenly over the entire surface. You can leave it smooth and flat like this, but if you want a design, just start at one corner and make shallow back and forth swirly lines, as I'm doing here. Now it's time to return the pan back to the refrigerator. You want everything to set, so you'll have to chill for at least a couple hours depending on your refrigerator, or leave it to set overnight for best flavor development. When you're ready, cut into even squares to make 16 bars. You will find that each bar is quite satisfying, and 1 or 2 make a great breakfast substitute because they're not only treaty, but they're also fat bombs. But if you're having one of these bars as an after-dinner dessert or treat, I actually find that half of a square is just the right size. In order to maintain the best taste and texture for these bars, between servings, leave them in your refrigerator. They actually taste best when they're cool. If you're wondering what these no-bake peanut butter squares taste like, these bars taste amazing. They're a very interesting combination of a Reese's peanut butter cup combined with a wonderful cookie, which of course makes sense since those are the basic ingredients we use to make them. Before ending, I have a few last tips. These keto no-bake peanut butter squares will keep well in the refrigerator for several days. Or if you have the strength of willpower, you can also freeze your leftover bars in an airtight container, and in this way they will keep in the freezer for several months. I hope you have found this instructional video useful, and if so, please share it with someone that you think might enjoy this recipe. And most of all, I hope you'll come back and check out my next video when it's posted. Thank you very much for spending the time and watching my video. especially if you made it to the end. Well, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Cheers!